Today, our topic is how to face death without fear. Death is something every person thinks about, but not everyone talks about. It is a natural part of life, yet it often brings fear, sadness, or confusion. But what if we could face death without fear? What if we could see it as just another part of the journey, not something to be scared of? This is not easy, but it is possible. Let us explore how we can do this, using ideas from philosophy, especially Stoicism, and practical advice. First, let us understand why we fear death. For many people, the fear of death comes from the unknown. We do not know what happens after we die. Will there be nothing? Will there be something? This uncertainty can make us feel anxious. Another reason is that we fear losing the things we love: our family, our friends, our experiences, and our dreams. We do not want to say goodbye to the world we know. But Stoicism, an ancient philosophy, teaches us a different way to think about death. Stoics believe that we cannot control everything in life. Death is one of those things. It will happen to all of us, no matter what we do. So instead of fearing it, we should accept it as a natural part of life. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus said, "Death is nothing terrible, but the fear of death is terrible." This means that death itself is not the problem. It is our fear of it that causes pain. If we can let go of this fear, we can live more peacefully. How can we do this? One way is to focus on what we can control. We cannot control when or how we will die, but we can control how we live. We can choose to live a good life, to be kind to others, to help people, and to do things that make us happy. If we live well, we will have fewer regrets when our time comes. Another way to face death without fear is to think about it often. This might sound strange, but Stoics practice something called Memento Mori, which means remember that you will die. This is not to make us sad, but to remind us that life is short and precious. When we remember that our time is limited, we are more likely to appreciate the moments we have. We will not waste time on things that do not matter, like anger, jealousy, or worry. Instead, we will focus on what is truly important: love, kindness, and making a difference in the world. Another important idea is to see death as a part of nature. Just as a tree loses its leaves in autumn, or a flower wilts after it blooms, all living things come to an end. Death is not something strange or evil. It is simply how life works. When we see it this way, it becomes less scary. We are part of a bigger cycle, and death is just one part of that cycle. This does not mean we should not feel sad when we lose someone we love. Grief is natural, and it is okay to feel it. But it also helps to remember that death is not the end of everything. The people we love live on in our memories, in the things they taught us, and in the way they shaped our lives. In this way, they are still with us, even after they are gone. Another way to face death without fear is to think about what comes after. Some people believe in an afterlife, where they will meet their loved ones again. Others believe that death is the end, and there is nothing after. Both beliefs can bring comfort, depending on what you believe. If you believe in an afterlife, you can think of death as a transition to something new. If you believe there is nothing after, you can think of death as a peaceful rest, like a long sleep. Either way, there is no need to fear it. It is also helpful to think about the lives of people who face death with courage. Many great leaders, philosophers, and ordinary people have shown us how to die with dignity and peace. For example, Socrates, the ancient Greek philosopher, was sentenced to death for his beliefs. But instead of being afraid, he accepted his fate calmly. He said that a good person has nothing to fear in life or in death. His courage reminds us that we can face death with strength, even in difficult situations. Another example is the Stoic philosopher Seneca, who said, "It is not death that is terrible, but the thought of death." He believed that by thinking about death and accepting it, we can free ourselves from fear. This does not mean we should rush toward death or take unnecessary risks. It means we should live our lives fully, knowing that death is not something to avoid, but something to accept. Practical steps can also help us face death without fear. One step is to talk about it. Many people avoid the topic of death because it makes them uncomfortable. But talking about it can help us feel more prepared. We can talk to our family about our wishes, like what kind of funeral we want or how we want to be remembered. We can also make a will, so our loved ones know what to do after we are gone. These things might seem small, but they can give us peace of mind. Another step is to focus on the present moment. Often, we fear death because we are thinking too much about the future. But the truth is, we only have the present moment. We cannot change the past, and we cannot predict the future. All we can do is live right now. When we focus on the present, we can enjoy life more and worry less about what will happen later. Meditation and mindfulness can help with this. By practicing mindfulness, we learn to be fully present in each moment, without worrying about what comes next. This can reduce our fear of death and help us live more peacefully. Finally, we can find comfort in the idea of legacy. Even though we will die, the things we do in life can live on. If we help others, if we create something beautiful, if we make the world a better place, our impact can continue after we are gone. This is why many people find meaning in their work, their relationships, or their contributions to society. They know that their life matters, not just to them, but to others as well. This can give us a sense of purpose and make the idea of death less frightening. In conclusion, facing death without fear is not easy, but it is possible. By understanding why we fear death, accepting it as a natural part of life, and focusing on the things we can control, we can reduce our fear and live more peacefully. Stoicism teaches us that death is not something to be afraid of, but something to accept. By thinking about death often, we can appreciate life more and live with purpose. Practical steps, like talking about death and focusing on the present, can also help. And finally, by leaving a positive legacy, we can find comfort in knowing that our life has meaning. Death is not the end of everything. It is just another part of the journey. When we accept this, we can face it with courage and peace.